Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's time for a cheeky little upgrade, and it's going to cost me practically nothing because just out shot is parked my new work van, which is a T6.1. Picked it up yesterday. It's poverty spec apart from aircon, but it is a 6.1, and they do have different backlights to the old Pride and Joy, which is a T6. So I'm wondering, will they just swap across? Let's see. Let's give it a go and see if it throws up any fault codes. Now, for those of you out there with a few basic DIY skills and a tool like a screwdriver, removing the backlights is a piece of cake. So it's just a case of unddoing these two screws and moving the light to the side. And your light's off. Then you simply place the screws somewhere safe, and there's the connection, so you don't need to tease out the rubber bond. There is the connection on the back of the light, just here. That's it. That looked a bit worrying at first, but basically all I did was just lift that little clip a bit, and now that's come away. And here's the connection for the T6. We've got wire points 1 through 6. 1 is not used on the T6 on the passenger side. We've got green, grey, brown, black and white and red. But look at this. On the T6 the plugs are all different. And here's the inside of the lights. That's a T6. That's a 6.1. I don't know if you can see, but the switch is the other way around. So turning a switch around isn't the end of the world, but the orientation of the wiring is. I suspect that the connection needs to be repinned and then it should work. But it should just be a case of copying the position of this connector onto the, should I say, copying the position of the 6.1 connections onto the back of this connection, because it's not going to work with 1 and 5 being transposed, is it? It should be possible to do it with a repinning tool, but it might be a bit of a stress. Possibly there's an adapter loom or something available, so you can do it. A bit more research is required. Okay, so we're moving forwards with Project Light Swap. So I went onto eBay and I've sourced a set, well, 2 sets actually. Here's the other set, which I've stripped down. 2 sets of T5 to T6.1 converters. So I'm hoping it's not 100% that the wiring is compatible. So let's plug these in. But the other issue is that once this is connected in like this, you've got that sort of assembly at the back of your light that you've got to fit in. So I'm just going to quickly do one and test the lights to see if they still work, and see if this can be fitted back, you know, by sort of pressing this in like that or something along those lines. So if we just connect up the back light, and then I'll test the lights and see if it works well, and then we have solved half of the problem. Refit the screws and test. That's not right, is it? I think that's worked. There we go. That's the T6 lights fitted onto the T6.1 using a wiring loom that I have adapted. So there we go, that's the lights swapped over using wiring loom adapters. Now there isn't a wiring loom available that goes from T6 rear lights onto a T6 loom, because that is sort of a swap that's not really done very often. That's going backwards, if you like. But the T6.1 to the T6, sorry, to T6.1 loom, you can just remove a slider, use a deepening tool, take the wires out, and then reorder them, you know, and then you can get it to work doing that. And that's what I've done. The colour coding's gone to shit, you know, but you basically have your T6.1 connector and your T6 plug that goes into the rear lights, and it's just a case of looking at a photograph of the T6 rear plug, and for example they've got the coded 1 to 6, and you might see that the red wire goes into number 1 on the 6.1. You just need to match that to where that needs to go on the T6. Yep. Now you could deepen the actual connections on the end of the loom on the van and move the wires around, and that would be probably a better solution, but I tested the connections with a deepening tool and the wires were really in there, they weren't moving, so I didn't want to break it, didn't want to snip the connectors off and resolder them, not on newish vans, so I just use this loom. And the plus side is, if it ever goes that I want to change the lights again, take the loom out, put it back in, and you're back to standard. So there you go, that's how I did it and what I've done. I've been TI UK. If you like the channel, please give me a subscription, and I'll see you again in the next one.